Hey guys, just as a quick disclaimer, I've just finished editing this episode and I should probably warn you that it's an extremely intensive Redstone episode, yet we cover a lot of Redstone in here. So if you're a bit scared of Redstone, you may want to go watch something else, but if Redstone excites you, then you might want to go grab some popcorn, sit back and enjoy. Hey guys, this is Eli, and welcome back to another episode of Eli's Kingdom. Now, I just want to start off the episode by giving a massive thank you to all of the amazing comments I've been receiving lately in my latest videos. It just seems like the past 2 weeks my channel has really taken off, and I've been getting some really nice comments from people, really good feedback, especially from some of you other YouTubers out there that are watching these videos. I mean, some of the stuff you've been saying is amazing. Guys like MadCat, YDYT, thanks so much for the comments you've been doing. And also a huge shout out to, I don't know how to pronounce it, is it White Fire? This guy, I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he's been doing this a lot longer than me. I think he's got a couple thousand subscribers, and he said some really incredible things on one of my episodes. He said he was really enjoying my style, and for somebody who's been doing this so much longer to say those nice things for me, that it really meant a lot. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. And of course, I will put some links down in the description to each of your channels because we've got to help each other out here. So thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate that. Now, just between episodes, I was doing a little bit of work in the kingdom. We now have this new central input line. So this is actually a chest where we can dump a bunch of our stuff if needed. We can just empty out our inventory and free up some space. And this is actually going to transport all of the items into our creeper castle storage area. So I want to have a couple of these dotted around the kingdom because it's just a really handy place to dump all of our items. We don't need to go all the way back in there. We can just dot them around. And we have one of these little stalls outside. We can put them inside buildings. We can basically put them wherever we want. And of course, we are going to need some way to transport the items into Creeper Castle. And that's exactly what we were doing in the previous episode, is we were setting up this underground network of sewers. So if we just head down here, just check for creepers real quick. Yep, we're fine. This is what we did in the last episode. We built this main sewer line that runs north to south along the kingdom, and we have a bunch of water streams in place to take all of our items around. So I think this one on the left takes the iron ingots from the iron farm. We also get the mine carts that transport the villagers into the prison, and the one in the center is going to be taking carrots, wheat, and whatever we need to take to our prison so we can actually do some trading with the villagers. And then on the right, this is just another general water stream to take whatever items we need back to our storage room. So it's pretty much future-proofed. We do have these alcoves every so often as well. If we just go take a look here, I mean, we've used this alcove on the left, but we have this empty slot here on the right. So if needed, we can dig this out. We can add another water stream to join onto this water channel, and we can just add bits to it if needed. So we can connect more sewer lines into this and just future-proof this. So I think it's all going to work really cool in my head anyway. In the last episode, we also built these cool little mini iron ingot storage silos, and I think they look really cute. I mean, storage silos are typically for mass items, so these have only got I think it's 9 double chests in total, so it's actually not that many chests, but I do think they look really adorable. It's a lot nicer to look at than just having this wall of double chests. And of course, we spent a long time doing the redstone for this because we actually have should be an even number of items in each one of these chests, so we should get 31. It seems like we've got a few flaws in the system because we seem to be getting, we're getting some straying in. I guess some spiders are making their way into this system and they're getting killed down in the chamber, and that probably is going to mess up our iron distribution, so we might need to do some maintenance for that. But can certainly leave that for this episode because I don't want to touch this too much today. In the final bit of the last episode, we did the cool time lapse where we're actually building the remainder of this sewer line, and I think it came out pretty well. I feel like the sewer is a bit too grey, and I did actually play around with a couple different blocks. I added some color into the wall here to see if I could make it look a bit better, but it didn't seem to work. So I honestly don't know what to do about this place. I feel like it's missing something. If you do have any suggestions, please do leave me a comment down in the comment section. Just let me know what you think I can do to improve this up, because I honestly have no idea. I don't think I'm a very good builder. I'm still learning building myself. I think I'm way better at the technical side of things, so I would appreciate some feedback on what to do here. here. But yeah, I think it's kind of hard to see in the time lapse, but this water stream here actually comes down and it loops around and underneath, and then it should just connect onto this line here. So we have another sewer line just here. That's the one connecting. Hello, Mr. Creeper. I do want to keep this dark and eerie. I want some mobs spawning behind there just so we can see them. It wouldn't be a sewer system without some creepy crawlies down here. And then also a huge shout out to TechnoGizmo for basically a way of sorting out minecarts. So this is actually something that he sent me, and I think it was originally Exumavoid's design, or maybe he just showcased it, but it's basically a dispenser. The dispenser spits out minecarts. The minecarts will go along the rail. If it's not a minecart, if it's just a regular item, then the item should just get picked up by these hoppers underneath, and that gets sent up this dropper elevator and takes all of our items into our storage area. So this seems to be working much better than before, and of course it means we don't actually need 2 water streams anymore. We could have just done the same thing with 1 water stream, but if we did that, then we wouldn't have this creeper to look at. So yeah, I mean, we have 2. We have a redundant one anyway, so it should be fine. And then these minecarts, they get shot along here, just up a minecart staircase, or whatever you want to call this. Not very good for climbing up, but I don't think we're ever going to do this at all. And then this connects to one of our other sewer lines where our minecart should continue along here. We have our villager breeder just up here on the left, so we should see that in just a second. And the minecarts get returned here, they hit this cactus, they get picked up by the hoppers, and they enter into this chest here. And this is just our kind of backup chest for holding the minecarts. There's a dispenser down there that should fire the minecarts onto some rails, and this is actually our setup here for the villagers. So our villagers, when they're baby villagers, they should fall down into this water stream. They should get channeled along here. They should stand on this pressure plate, and this actually fires a minecart. And there seems to be some glitch. I think I got this design. I can't remember who it was from, but it's just one of these minecart loading stations to pick up villagers. And yep, they stand on the pressure plate, fires a minecart under the ground, and it seems to pick up the villager and shoots off. Now, this seems to be working great. I have tested it. It's a completely closed circuit. So the villager shoots off on the minecart, and about 60 seconds later, we should see the minecart bounce back along here and fall back into the system. So I have tested it a few times. It seems to be working great, so I don't think there's any issues at all. We don't need to do any changes. But anyway, I want to leave that for this episode because we still need to do some more work in the prison area and the villager trading system, but I want to take a bit of a break from that because there's a few things that we need to get on with beforehand. And today I want to do some upgrades inside our storage room because there's a few things that are quite badly in need of upgrade. So let's just pop inside for a moment. So the first upgrade I'd like to do is actually with our main storage room area. Now this is Tango Tek storage room design. I actually really do love this design. I think it's probably the most efficient storage room you can get in Minecraft. And it's one of these designs where you have to fill up every single slot inside a chest, but you can have multiple items inside here. It doesn't all need to be the same thing. So this is a huge improvement over just a traditional item sorter with a double chest next to it, because typically you would have, say, a full double chest full of ladders and you would have a ton of empty space, and that's just wasted space. You can be filling this with other things. So I think that's why I love this one so much. It's just very efficient with the way it delivers items, and you can fit a lot in this small space. Now, it does carry one humongous flaw that has been driving me mad since I built it. And that's that every time the system turns on, it has the most irritating clicking noise ever. It goes on for about 3 or 4 minutes and it drives me mad. I can't even be in this room while it's on. And I actually find myself not throwing in items into this central input chest because I don't want to turn the system on. I've just been going and putting in things manually just because it's so much easier than having to deal with that clicking. Now, one thing I will say is our entire area here is in the spawn chunks, which means currently our iron farm over by the villager prison is actually loaded, and that's generating iron, which is now feeding into our sewer line, and it's getting delivered into this chest here. Now, every time we get one iron ingot delivered in here, the whole system activates, and we do get that irritating clicking, and it seems to go on for 3 or 4 minutes. And then if we did get a second iron ingot come in that time, then that 3 or 4 minutes gets extended to another 3 or 4 minutes, and basically this whole room becomes a horrible place to be. I mean, I just can't can't deal with it anymore. So I've actually been thinking about this for quite some time, and I did spend some time this week redesigning the redstone behind this in order to remove that annoying clicking noise and make it completely silent. Now, I did actually come up with a really cool way of doing that, and I just happened to notice last night that in Tango Tek's latest episode on the Hermitcraft server, he's actually come up with another way of redesigning this as well to make it silent. So he's bet me to it, but it is his design. So, I was actually thinking about doing a tutorial on the solution I'd come up with, but it's his design. I'm going to leave him to do that because it's not very nice when somebody else takes your design and they tweak it. But I think our designs are going to be slightly different because I'm not too sure what he's created. It's quite hard to tell from his episodes. So let's just pop into a redstone testing world and check out the design I've come up with. And this is my attempt at redesigning Tango Tek storage designs. So it's very similar to what we originally had, with the exception that the dropper elevators have now been moved to the back. So these dropper elevators originally were built right into the circuitry here. We had the elevators going along this line of blocks. They took items from the very bottom to the very top and they fed into this hopper here. Now the problem with that is if you know redstone, you'll know droppers they create this clicking noise, I think under two situations. One, when they're spitting items out into the air, and the other one is they will click if they are powered when empty. So that seems to be the biggest issue with this one, is these droppers were getting powered when they were empty, and it was creating that really irritating clicking noise. So in order to solve that, we can actually separate this and move this to the back, and we can use just a standard dropper elevator circuitry, which we've built a ton of times in the kingdom. I'm sure you're familiar with this design. And when we get an item, this bottom dropper, it fires up all the circuitry, and we get that cascade effect with the redstone torches, where they start firing one by one from the bottom to the very top, and it allows the item to be pushed up all the way to the very top, and we don't get any clicking. It's completely silent because none of these droppers are powered when they're empty. So it seems to work great. And then afterwards, it's just the same setup as before. The item should get passed into these hoppers and get sent all the way down to the system. If you don't know how this design works, do check out Tango's video. I don't think he explains it too well, but basically what happens is these hoppers are periodically locked and unlocked. So we actually say we have this row here would be locked. If that was true, then the row below would be unlocked, then the row below that would be locked, the row below would be unlocked, and so on. And basically it means the items will move down one hopper and then they will try and push into this chest. And if they can push into this chest, so say if we had some polished andesite, then it will push in. If it was some other item that can't fit in here, then it will just wait 4 redstone ticks, which is actually our clock circuit here, and then it will move down to the next hopper and it will try and push into the next one. If it can't, then it pushes down, and so on and so on. So we do have this circuit here which fires it's a 4-tick pulse circuit, and the reason it's 4 ticks is because it takes exactly 4 ticks for an item to move from one hopper to the next. So that seems to be working great. Now, when I did build this, it actually didn't work. I thought it would be as simple as just moving this dropper elevator out, but for some reason the system just wasn't working, and I was finding that about 2/3 of the items were going into the chest, and the remaining third were actually just, they weren't entering the system at all. They kept on skipping the chests, and they would just end up in the final hopper here. So it took me quite some time to figure out what the problem was, and it was actually that items were getting fed into this system too fast. Now, it seems to be a bit sensitive. It doesn't like having too many items in at once. I think I calculated it that it needs to have an 8-tick delay between items. So I guess it means that you must have one item in a hopper, you must have an empty hopper above it, and then one more item afterwards. So in order to achieve that 8-tick, we can actually just tweak our circuit down here. We use the same pulse for this 4-tick pulse generator here, and we can actually add this into 2 torches here, which lock these hoppers. These are, I'm sure you've seen these before in my tutorials or my previous episodes. We have these hoppers pointing into each other, and they have an item that bounces back and forth, which has a perfect 4-tick delay. By adding in these torches, we turn this into an 8-tick delay, and that seems to be working great. So we can now get this perfect system working. So I don't know exactly what Tango Tek's design is, but I'm sure it must be something similar. I don't know if he's discovered this problem yet with the items not following into the chest properly, but this seems to be working really well. What I did notice with Tango's design is he's actually going to set it up so that this clock circuit here is only active when items are actually in this little module. And I actually think that's a really cool setup, because if you know me and you know my channel, you know that I don't like leaving redstone active when it's not needed. So we only want this to be on when we have items trying to go into these chests. And of course, this is modular, so we can fit several of these side by side. We just need to connect up these hoppers. So I think this is going to work. It does actually take up a bit more room. I think it goes back an extra 3 or 4 blocks. So it may be a bit of a squeeze in our castle. We might have to redesign a little bit, but let's just pop in and take a look to see what we can do. On first glance, it looks like we're going to be good on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side to build the new circuitry, but we are going to have some issues at the very back wall because we have this window and we have the wall there. There just isn't enough room for that circuitry, so I think we are going to have to do a redesign of this area. But if we just go back here and take a look, so I think the first thing is these dropper elevators are going to have to be knocked down. They're just in the wrong place. These are the dropper elevators for the super smelter. They should be able to just get moved back to this corner here, and we can just extend those hopper lines, so that should be fine. That gives plenty of room for the circuitry. I think we only need about 3 or 4 blocks, and we have plenty of blocks here to play with, so that should be fine. Now this is where the issue is, because we have our wall here and we have our window just up there, and this is, I think it's only a 2-block gap, so we are going to have to push this further back. I think it's going to mean a slight redesign. I'll just look around for creepers because they do like to hide here. It is going to mean a slight redesign of this wall. I mean, we can push it back 1 block and it should be fine, but I guess we may need to do more than 1 block, so it might be a slight issue with that. I'm not too sure. We might just be able to push back the very bottom bit, so I'm not too sure. We're gonna have to figure this one out, but I think the best thing to do is to probably just pop into a 3rd-person time lapse. We can knock all this circuitry down and start building the new circuitry. So see you guys in just a second. And we are back, and it's just dawned on me that I have completely destroyed my storage room. I mean, this thing is crazy, and I'm starting to feel really nervous as well because we did have a working storage system beforehand, and do you know what? I've never tested this on this scale. I mean, we obviously tested a very small module in the testing world, and it seemed to work fine, but this is just, I mean, this is going to be so much more bigger. It's, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm really nervous now. I mean, I hope it does work. If it does work, it's going to be amazing. You know, this is a really cool design. It should be completely silent. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for this. But I did do a bit of work just after the time lapse. I did the circuitry underneath. This was a bit fiddly to do. And, you know, all of these hoppers had to be placed in. So I wanted to take my time with this, just make sure I got them all in the right direction. And, you know, it's going to be very sensitive because if just one of these hoppers is placed incorrectly, the whole system is obviously just going to stop working. There's going to be a flaw. Same with the torches. If I've missed out one torch somewhere, then the whole thing is just going to completely break. So I am feeling really nervous about this. You know, my reputation is on the line for this new design. So fingers crossed. We did have to take out the item elevators. So at some point, the ones that go up to the super smelters will have to be rebuilt. We also had to take out the item elevator that we built in the last episode. This was the one that takes the iron ore from the sewer line up into our system. So yeah, pretty much all of the hard work we've done in the previous episodes has now been completely destroyed. And I mean, this was a monumental task. So I mean, we lost our cave as well. This is where our cave was. We've had to go pretty far deep into it. Yeah, I think you can see where the wall originally was. So we've moved quite a few blocks in there. So yeah, a lot of work. that we did the past is now going to have to be redone, but it will hopefully be worth it, because if this does work, it's going to be an amazing design. So I think the next step to do is to actually set up the timing circuits, and I think we'll probably do one timer circuit for each module. There is a wire that goes down the middle, so this is the one that should be powering this entire module. If we just connect up a timing circuit below that, then I guess in theory everything should work with that. And I think, yeah, we'll have 3 separate timing circuits, so we can have one here, we'll have one here, one over here, and that means that when an item is through in the circuit, then this should only be active for that time that item is there. So we'll actually need to pop into a testing world. We'll need to do some tests to actually see how long it takes for an item to start off in this dropper and to make its way all the way through the system and end up in the final hopper, which I think is I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's this one. Is it this one? Yep, this hopper here. That's the final hopper. That sends it off to the next module. So, yep, very nervous. But let's pop into a testing world and figure out how to do these timings. Okay, I think I've finally come up with a solution that seems to be working, and it has taken a bit of time to figure this out, but we got something pretty cool here. So this is basically a modified, I think it's called a dropper latch pulse extender. I've actually removed the dropper, so it's not really one anymore, but it's basically a hopper clock. Again, we have the 2 hoppers pointing into each other, and we have a bunch of items in here, and that unloads into this hopper, and then it loads back into this one, and while it's in this hopper, we should get an output coming through here. So that basically activates the whole system. Now, I wanted something that was completely silent. I didn't want to use any pistons, so this seems to be working really cool. I do really like this circuit, and I have been testing it. It seems to work under a variety of situations. If we throw in items really slowly, then the whole thing continues to load items into here. If we wait like a minute and then we throw in one item, it then again seems to reactivate itself. So it's working really well. Now, just to go back to what I said before about the 8-tick delay, I think I was probably speaking nonsense, because I've been trying to figure this out, and I mean, if I just turn the system on real quick, I don't think there is actually any 8-tick delay. I think what's happening is these torches are actually forcing the items to be in sync with this clock here. So what's happening is the items are still going up the dropper elevator, but they're actually going up in the same sequence as this. So this is a 4-tick clock. That means that we need the items to be in sync with the 4 ticks. So we need them to be going into this hopper on the 0th tick, and we need to be exiting on the 4th tick, if that makes any sense. I think what we were having before is sometimes items were coming in on, say, the 1st tick or the 2nd tick or the 3rd tick, and it meant that they were actually skipping a hopper, so they would be skipping the chest completely. So I think that's what this does, is it forces everything to be in sync with the clock at the back, and that seems to work. Now, I don't know if it's the fact that we have 8 droppers in our dropper elevator, and of course it takes 1 tick for an item to move up, so that should be exactly 8 ticks, which of course is a multiple of 4. I have no idea if that's significant or not. I mean, if you did 9 droppers in this elevator, I don't know if that would cause everything to break, so that might be something interesting to test out in the near future, but I'd certainly be interested to see what would actually happen. But yeah, this seems to be working well, so let's just pop back into the kingdom and let's get building this in all of our modules. Alright, that seems to be everything fully built now, and I'm starting to get really nervous again because we are finally ready for a full systems test, so this is going to be the moment of truth. Now, I've gone around and I've checked all of the repeaters, made sure they're on the correct settings. I've checked all of the redstone torches. I've made sure we've got all of them in place. I've checked the hopper clocks. I've made sure they seem to be working. They got the correct number of items. I think all of our hoppers that are pointing into each other, I've made sure there's one in there. I've checked the hoppers. I've made sure they're all pointing the way that they should do. At least I hope they are. I mean, I can't see any obvious mistakes. So I think we're good to go. I mean, I kind of don't want to do this because I feel like something is going to go horribly wrong, but I think it's about time. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop upstairs. We are going to throw a bunch of items into our central input chest and probably wait about 5 minutes. We'll just AFK here to let everything go into the correct chest. Now, I've already chosen the items we're going to do. It's going to be these ones here. here. So we got blaze rods, we got chests, redstone dust, vines, stone bricks, and oak wood. Now we're gonna do 63 of each item. I've actually made sure that we only have one of each in each chest. So basically we're gonna end with 64. And you know, if items, if they don't go in the system at all, they should end up in this chest down here. So you know, it should be a good test to see. We should get 64 in every single one. So let's go. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Fingers crossed. Let's report back in a couple minutes. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I've made myself a cup of tea, and here is the moment of truth. So the first one was blaze rods. This should end on 64. Yes! Oh, we did it! Fantastic. The next one was redstone dust. Now, I think there is a pile of redstone dust in here, so it should also end. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's exactly what we had before. It's maybe not the best of tests because it's quite hard to see what I've actually added in, but I don't know. Stone bricks, I think we were on the second row here. Yep. Oh, yes. Fantastic. We had chests. I honestly can't remember how many chests. Where are the chests? I think this one. I think that's right. Yeah, I think we just had 64 in there before, so that was the new one. Vines, where are the vines? This one? Yes, that's right. Yeah, we only had one vine in there in that slot, so that was 64 now. And then the final one is oak wood. I know there was no stacks of oak wood in here, so we should have a full stack. Yes! It works! I can't believe it actually works. Fantastic. I built something that works. That's amazing. I mean, it does look like a complete mess right now. I mean, there's holes everywhere. It's a bit crazy, but oh, I'm so happy. I can't believe this works. Oh, I really do like this. Well, I think between episodes I will do all the tidying up, and I'll try and figure out what to do behind this wall. But we should probably end the episode here. I should definitely apologize to the fact that this has been such a redstone-y episode. I mean, I don't know if you guys like that or not. Please let me know down in the comments section if you do like these redstone episodes, or if you prefer building. It would be really good to hear your feedback. I do know that I tend to talk quite a lot in detail about the redstone. I think it's because I used to teach physics to undergrads, so I'm kind of used to talking in detail. Maybe it's too much detail, I don't know. Please let me know in the comments section what you think. And yeah, I really do hope you enjoyed this one. I can't believe we actually created something that's working as well. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did like this video, then please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, then please do subscribe. I've been Eli. Thanks for watching.